some of you may be familiar with the Where the Wild Things Are story. So I've had a loose overlay. I think the slide deck looks wicked cool. So I wanted to like make it happen. So this is the deal. The goal is, as I just said, the cyber industry is so wild right now. For noobs, such as yourselves, or people who are looking to break in, junior individuals, the term noob is kind of derogatory at this point, but it's overwhelming. Okay, so I've heard people say cybersecurity is like science, right? So when someone comes to me and they say, Jerry, and I get this question often, Jerry, how do I break into cyber? Like the immediate question is, it depends. Like, what do you want to do? Saying you want to work in cyber is like saying you want to work in science, right? Like, do you want to be a biologist, a thermo, rocket engineer? Like what? Like it's two wildly different paths. So we need to break down that confusion and get more actionable insights that are deliberately tailored for your own path. And people get wicked frustrated. I mean, I run a podcast. Well, I run several podcasts, but I do it daily, and I talk to people like literally every day, and I can hear the surge of frustration and people wanting to give up because, it's just overwhelming. You send out 500 applications and you hear nothing, and it's like, what the hell? So that's you. Okay, so you're Max in this instance, okay? And the Wild Things, the island of Wumpus or whatever, that's kind of like the market. So the goal of this talk, okay, so I'm big on infographics and visuals. The goal of this is for you to start as this guy. See the little mad face, you're super mad, okay? And then when we're done, you're gonna be leaving this talk via the boat with a big smile and feeling good about yourself. So what's the problem? The number one problem is perspective, okay? Your point of view is you've got your Sec Plus, or you're going to get it, okay? You've done some labs, you've got practical skills, you've hack the box, maybe you built a SIM or security onion at your house or something. Perhaps you even went and got a degree, bachelor's degree, right? Cybersecurity, computer science. The sad thing is, and you can see I've used the graphics here, like you're a monster, you're an absolute monster gonna crush the cybersecurity industry because you've got horns and talons and huge hairy feet, and like that's what employers want. The problem is, and it's not competitive in that way, but the problem is every one of us has these accolades, right? So when you're applying for a job, you're actually not really standing out. And unfortunately, there's a misnomer about it because you're like, oh, I got my plus, where's my job? Like, I thought I just went to the job store and like I got handed this job. It's not enough in 2025. From the hiring manager's perspective, and this is super important, I've hired people like many times over. This is the reality of corporate America, at least. I don't have experience in Europe or any of the other kind of areas. I assume that they're similar, but just as a limitation disclosure. When you are applying to a job, chances are CISO said, hey, we need something, or they don't even have information security, and CIO is like, we need someone to fill out these third-party questionnaire forms. So HR goes and just asks ChatGPT to write a requirements list, and the requirements are poor. They're either like a unicorn, super list that is completely ridiculous, or it's not, it's, junior analyst must have like 10 years of experience, right? Or must have a, whatever, like have done SOC and Red and GRC and Orange and like, run their own business. The requirements suck. Okay. So you should be well aware that that's a fact. In fact, when you do apply to jobs, don't think that you have to check all those boxes because it's essentially like a dream list. The submissions are overwhelming. There's so many people submitting that large businesses will use what's called application tracking systems. You put in your work and submit your tailored resume, and AI looks at it and says no, right? A human doesn't even see it. I'm not saying that's for everybody. I'm just saying if you put a job out for an entry-level position and 1,000 people apply to it, they are not going to review 1,000 applications. They have tools to help them tailor it down to 20, 30 applications. That's another problem, okay? And then and honestly, just being real, being human, the reason they do that is because it's very time consuming. And remember, the business, whether it's the CISO, the CIO, HR, they're just trying to get their job done so they can get on to next task. So for them, there's no incentive really for them to go through all the resumes and go deep into them and stuff like that. Like that's part of the problem and why they don't get to see how excellent each of you are in your own way. Their objective is to fill the seat as fast as possible, right? Which is in our benefit in a second. You're about to find out, because I'm going to show you basically exploit that aspect. You need to stand out, number one, which is a main focus of this talk, and you have to develop meaningful connections. This can happen in many different ways. Just as an example, okay, Josh just came up here and opened the Village. He talked about how 3 years ago, he and I talked and collaborated on. Now Josh he's got I'm sorry, I thought Josh was over here. Josh has a podcast that he's doing with Wade Wells, a detection engineer out of San Diego. Josh is running a Village. Josh is doing all these things, speaking at events, okay? And I'm not saying it's exclusively because of the relationship that he and I have, but it plays into that. It is part of it because I know Josh and I've introduced Josh to Michelle, right? For example, now Michelle and Josh are talking, they're collaborating on a talk. So there's an economy of scale that will bloom. And I mean it like in the true sense of like ballooning explosion once you start developing these connections, because every person you make a connection with basically are 1 degree closer to their first connections, kind of the way LinkedIn is more meaningful. Okay, let's get into it. So I'm going to teach you how to like basically use LinkedIn correctly. LinkedIn can be a bit of a hot mess express. I saw someone on social media this morning post about how LinkedIn's kind of cringe, like F this. Okay, I used to not use LinkedIn correctly. I do it now because I just enjoy seeing what my friends and colleagues are doing in their updates. And if like, someone gets laid off, like someone, I won't name names, but someone just got laid off like just recently. And somebody reached out to me like, 2 days ago. And they're like, oh, I have this CISO opportunity in Nashville. Do you know anyone? And immediately I thought of this guy and I messaged him, right? So I don't know what's up, but like that job isn't even posted. So this is why these connections are so meaningful. It's if you're looking for a job today, like you want to do this now. So when you want the job, you've built the infrastructure for yourself. Okay, so let's talk about doing this on LinkedIn. Yeah, I hope everyone here does have a LinkedIn account. If you're like anti-social media, that's fine. But right now it is the only business social media platform that, is available to us and people are using it. And I've got a surprise for you. When you do apply to a job and you do get to the round where humans are looking at it, or someone talks about you in the room when you're not there, right? Like, oh yeah, I met Mark at Noob Village. I think he'd be perfect for this. Or Maz wants to get into GRC. He might be a good fit for this, right? You want someone to talk about you when they're not in the room. Someone's going to immediately go to LinkedIn and look at you. Okay, so it's very valuable to do this correctly because it's one of the things people are going to look at regardless, okay? Whether it's right or wrong, okay? Whether people are making human judgments on you based on your LinkedIn, that's not right or wrong, but the reality is people do it, okay? So let's do this in 3 phases. Your profile, we're going to show you how to fix that. That's your landing page. The landing page is like basically where you're trying to send people to. So it's your main sale page. And at the end of the day, when you're trying to get a job, you're like, I know it sounds crude, but like you're selling yourself to an employer, right? I mean, it's not like human trafficking or some weird shit, but like you're selling your services, right? You're trying to be on the car lot. You're a Chevy pickup and the other person applying to a job is a Ford or whatever. And you're trying to demonstrate that you have better gas mileage and you have heated seats and they don't, right? The parallel is 100% accurate. That's that. The content that you produce is going to drive those meaningful connections and it's going to demonstrate, the algorithm's going to pick up and it's going to start putting you in contact and into conversations that are applicable to what you're doing. So having kind of a vision of where you want to go is very important. And then of course, networking. So let's break it down. So this is Actionable, okay? And I hope you can see this. On the right is my LinkedIn profile, and I mean this in the most humble way possible. This isn't be like an arrogant prick or something, but like I'm doing all the best practices, okay? So you can look at mine after the talk is over to see what I'm talking about because there's actually a little bit more there. But this is some guy I found named Tom Pine, okay? I thought his name was kind of funny. Okay, he's doing all the worst, and this is basically a vanilla build profile here, okay? So let's look at what he's got wrong here. Number one, you may not notice this, but right here, the URL, you can control that URL. You can customize that, right? So it can be Tom Pine, linkedin.com/in/Tom Pine. When you do that, you might be like, who gives a crap? It's a URL. Then when you start putting it on socials or putting it on your resume, it looks more professional. It looks like you put in some time into your profile, right? It's like showing up to a job interview with a t-shirt and mustard stain on it, right? Like you wouldn't do that. This is something that you do once, set it and forget it. It's super, super useful, right? Because then when you say, well, you can find me on LinkedIn, when someone types it, that URL becomes very easy to remember, okay? Obviously, this is an abomination. Like they've done nothing here with this header. Seriously, they've done nothing with the header or the profile photo. First off, profile photo, you got to have a profile photo, okay? It's super trendy right now to have like some AI kind of like, it's like light AI version of yourself. Personally, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's fine, especially if it looks super clean, but just something that is you. If you think for a minute about content that you consume personally on social media, whether it's LinkedIn or any of these other ones, posts that have graphics of people's faces perform better. Next time you're looking at media, like think about it, you'll actually find yourself pausing and looking. It's because there's a human connection to seeing people's faces, and it's more powerful. So long as your face is there and it's somewhat yours, you're good to go. Okay, mine is just, this guy right here. What I would advise against is, this is better than nothing, but I would invest in just 5 minutes and do it well. Like one of these photos where like you're wearing a tuxedo at like in a wedding party and like you've got like an arm sticking out over here, and like don't do that, right? Like you can take a selfie. We all have cell phones with cameras. Like just stand against this wall, take a picture, put it up there. You can fix it later, but 1% better is better than nothing. Okay. The banner image, I'm going to give you a little bit more afterwards. This is a massive amount of real estate for you. When anyone goes to your LinkedIn page, they will see this banner image. They may not scroll, they will see this banner image. It's basically above the fold, right? If you think about a newspaper well, you'd have to be an old person like me, but like back in the day, newspapers used to be paper, and like you'd see above the fold, like in the vending machine, right? So like, what? Yeah, they used to use too. But it is like, you basically want to eliminate friction of somebody consuming your information. And friction is them touching that screen and scrolling. I know it's very light friction, but it's still friction. You can use this banner image here for anything. Say you don't have like podcasts and all this other stuff. Just put like, what are you into? Like GRC practitioner or your URL to your blog, which we'll get into in a minute, right? Use this real estate. And I'll give you templates too, so you don't even have to like invent the wheel, okay? Next one, this guy, logistics manager at Best Restaurant. This defaults to your current role that you're employed at. That is an absolute waste. Like this does nothing for me as an employer, right? Someone who's looking at you, kind of stalking you, hunting you. You could type in whatever you want. I mean, you could put in like, oh, I love Netflix, but that still doesn't do anything. Like I've got my URL to my website. I've got some like social proof here. So like my YouTube channel's got millions of views. So that's kind of cool. It's on MTV. So like all these things, but the one you should get out of here is I share my passion for GRC cybersecurity to help everyone. That is my mission statement. If you read that, you know exactly what I'm about right now. I'm not hacking all the things. I'm not, pen tester of extraordinaire. This is what I am and this is what I do. I love helping people. I love educating. I love GRC and making GRC socially acceptable. Okay. Keep on going really quick. This right here, this guy doesn't even have anything here. You could put hyperlink here. If you get a blog, you get a website, you get a GitHub repo, whatever, right? Take a LinkedIn and the extension of the things you can go from LinkedIn as a three-dimensional resume. It is everything that you can tell anyone about you and why you are awesome for their organization. Or not just their organization. You shouldn't even think about it as employer exclusively. Networking and connecting with people, right? There's a guy named Stefan Waldvogel. Okay. He's not super active on social media or anything, but he was when he was looking for a job. He posted some really interesting graphics. And I, as mentioned earlier, have almost like a unhealthy obsession with infographics. And I saw him, I messaged him, I said, hey, I want to make a video on YouTube about your infographic. Are you okay with that? He's like, that sounds really cool. So then he and I started collaborating, organic relationship. Then he had a Discord server and he's like, hey, Simply Cyber's kind of blowing up. Like, would you like the Discord server? I'll manage it and you can have it, right? So because he posted and I was able to connect with him, that blew up into me making this content and then having this server and then building this community. It all plays together, okay? So you just set it once and it'll fix it, okay? What else we got here? Posts, right? Obviously you want to do some posts with the regular. And then what his experience is. So in the experience, this is like a resume bullet. What you should absolutely put on your experience is impact statements on the value you deliver to the organization. Remember, the person reading this, if they're an employer, all they care about, and this is cold and callous, but it's the reality, all they care about is what can you do for me? They don't care that you were procurement manager for 3 years at a loading dock. They don't care. What they care about is you improved, operations by 32% in 6 months. You managed 8 people across 3 time zones or something. What is the impact? What can you do for me? That is what should be there. Okay. As I mentioned before, there's this about section that it's not here, but there's an about section about like how awesome are you and what can you do. 2 things. One, AI. There's this really cool thing called generative AI. You guys should check out. It's kind of like bleeding edge right now. But in the screenshot here, I put, I'm a 22-year-old Marine that just transitioned out of the Marine Corps and I'm entering the workforce. I have my Security Plus. I want to work in a SOC. Write an about for my LinkedIn profile that would have high conversion of people reading it. Like, be very specific. Put in your situation. Don't put anything and don't put anything that you consider sensitive, right? Because this is public. And tell it to write your LinkedIn profile, the LinkedIn about. Okay? There's no reason not to. Canva is an awesome graphics tool. There's a free tier. You can literally just get these LinkedIn banners. Remember this thing right here, right? You can just grab one of these, put your name, put your picture, put your URL, whatever you want. They have a bunch. Make it your own, have a little bit of personality, but definitely put one there. All right, so as far as content goes, this is super important, okay? You've probably seen multiple videos on how to do this. This one is not easy, and to do it well is hard, and I'm gonna show you how to do it, okay? Number 1, you need to speak to the reader, okay? So you have to be about you. It's not like, oh, hey, you can post like, hey, Black Hat's a lot of fun, right? But if you're trying to, say you wrote some code and you posted it to GitHub, or you have a hot take on, Microsoft just released something called Project Ire, which basically is AI reverse engineering. It was just announced today. And maybe you have a hot take on that. Maybe you think it's going to be awesome for the workforce, or maybe you think it's going to lead to a reduction in workforce of reverse engineers at like Google and whatever it is. You can have your hot take, but if you make it specific to the reader, so you could say, hey, you might think that Project Ire is going to eliminate reverse engineering jobs, but you're wrong. What's actually going to happen is something you wouldn't believe, ... And I know that's a little clickbaity, but there's another thing about LinkedIn. If you've ever done LinkedIn, it will only show you the first 2 sentences before you hit the more button. There is statistical information that supports that if that person clicks the more button, there's a high probability, like in the 70s, that they're going to read your post and or your like carousel or your infographic, all right? If they don't click on that, they're not going to really read and consume your content. So you want them to push that button. It's like a human hack, but you need to do that. If you make it generic, they're not going to read it because it's not going to feel like it's made for them. You have to deliver value. Okay, so you got that hot take, right? You know what's not useful? Saying like, Project Ire sucks. Who's with me, right? Like that's not really valuable, okay? But if you say, here's why I think it's going to cause a problem, and here's where you can go get more information, or I just wrote this piece of code that does the same thing as Burp Suite, or I wrote a plugin for whatever, check it out. Here's the value. If you deliver value, this is getting into the building meaningful relationship. We can all deliver value in various ways. It doesn't matter if you don't work in the industry yet, you can deliver value. By delivering value, there's this social engineers do this all the time, right? This sense of reciprocity, right? So like, oh, I hand you something and now you almost feel compelled to hand me something back. By putting value into the network and helping people without expectation of reciprocation, you're going to start building relationships because people are going to be like, oh man, this lady's been like delivering value and like, I love what she's doing. This is great. Like I have people come up to me all the time and say, how can I help you? How can I support? Like, I've got this thing, would it help you? Right. And I don't do it so I have people coming to me offering these things. It's just a natural byproduct of what's happening. Also, be authentic. I use AI to help me write content. I don't use it to write my content. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, right? So I'll say, hey, I've got this thought I have, this hot take I have. Here, AI, here are my thoughts. Here's what I'm doing. I want to write it for LinkedIn. I want to use emotes to break it up. Give me a draft. And then I'll be like, okay, like I like this, I don't like this. And then I'll massage it or whatever. That's how a lot of people are using AI, frankly, is for drafting. You should totally do it. There's no reason not. Your structure is super important. If you write a word wall, that ain't gonna work, okay? You need that, like I mentioned. Your content has to be visually digestible. Next time you're reading a post on any social media and you are like, abandon it, think about for a second, why are you abandoning it? It might be because it's like frictionful for you to read it. And I'll have a visual here in a second. Promote engagement. I'm not saying like, hit the like button and get entered to win a PlayStation 5 or something. But ask genuine questions like, what do you think? I mean, do you think that Project Dire is going to destroy reverse engineering? I don't know. Like, what's your opinion? The reason I want you to do this is twofold. One, by asking for engagement and comments, you're actually going to have a conversation start to establish. Maybe someone pushes back really hard on you. Maybe they agree with you. Maybe they have a resource or a follow-up story they want to share. Now you start building a relationship with that person around a common entity instead of just walking up to them being like, hi, I also work in cyber, let's party, right? Second of all, and this is again playing the game, LinkedIn, if your content's performing well, LinkedIn's like, oh shit, people like this. Let's show more people. If your content's not performing well, LinkedIn will sinkhole it. Okay. So you'll put in all that work. So by making it promote engagement, you're actually going to get wider reach and build more meaningful connections. Okay. Again, personally, this is a super pro tip. On LinkedIn, it doesn't call it reels or carousels or anything like that. If you attach a PDF document to LinkedIn post, it will put each page as an individual graphic and allow people to swipe left to right. This is without question the highest performing piece of content you can put on LinkedIn right now. If you post on LinkedIn that doesn't have anything attached to it, don't even post it. It literally, you might as well just throw it in the trash. Like, it's not going to perform. LinkedIn will not push it, I promise you. If you add that PDF, it will blow up, okay? Here's an example of visual digestible, okay? You notice the gaps here? Very easy to read, probably not from this distance back there at this font size, but trust me, on your mobile, it'll be cool. You can see it, speak to the reader. Here are the 9 things that you need to watch, deliver value. There's a goldmine of free education on YouTube in cybersecurity, but with 38 million YouTube channels, how can you discern which ones are trash and which ones are good? Don't worry, because I've taken care of it for you. I've curated this list. I'm delivering value to you without any expectation of return. You can see here, there's other pieces and such. Here's an example of that PDF. This post right here, I did a couple weeks. I don't have internet so I can show you, but like this thing has like been reposted like 600 times. There's like thousands of comments. Like, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Okay. It's a PDF. You can see there's 11 pages. You can see my name is here. I don't know if this is AI, right? And when you swipe to the end, it's like value, video 1, video 2, video 3. Like, why is Network Chuck? Why is TCM? Why is John Hammond, right? Because people here who are new and don't know the industry may not know, like, oh, I've heard John Hammond, but like, why should I watch it? I don't know. I'm explaining to you why. That way you don't have to waste your time if it's not a good fit for you. All right, so as far as networking goes, as I mentioned before, authentic comments, right? Dennis Keith, this guy right here, is in my community. He's awesome. He's like an OSINT like superstar, like out of nowhere. Like maybe like 6 months ago, I guess he just decided he was gonna like crush OSINT. And he's been posting a lot of content about his OSINT work, his OSINT certs. He's talking about OSINT. Like, I know for a fact Dennis Keith is wicked into OSINT because he's made it abundantly clear to me and everyone on LinkedIn that that's what he's into. He provided this really cool resource that I bookmarked for myself. And I said, hey, like, thanks, Dennis Keith. Like, I love what you're doing. He didn't just say like, like thumbs up or excellent, Dennis Keith. Like, I gave an authentic comment. I took a minute, engaged, and that builds that relation. Kayla Sturgeon learned about Live Overflow from my document here. So I take a minute and say, hey, like, awesome. And then I give a little bit more context, okay? Promoting engagement, getting it to reach further, but also acknowledging people, right? Someone took the time to write this. It's nice to take time to give them back. So let's multiply these things, okay? So you might be, again, you might be 18 and like, I don't have anything, or you might be like feeling, I guess, imposter syndrome. Like, I've only been studying for a year. You know, Jerry, you've been in the industry 20 years. Of course you have something. Remember, wherever you are, like, you're at DEF CON right now. There's people who want to be at DEF CON. There's people who like are thinking like, oh, I want to work in cyber. Like, being at DEF CON would be cool. So like, already you could make content around your experience at DEF CON. 5 talks at DEF CON that you won't believe I attended, that the value was out of control. Okay. Or the best 3 villages at DEF CON, right? Or, you know, Noob Village +2, right? So my point is, you don't have to think, don't overanalyze it. You got all sorts of things. Like Ben's he's in school right now, right? So whatever he's studying is interesting, right? Whatever you're working on, if you're producing code, is interesting. So you have tons. Each person in this room has something of material value that you can share with a community that will be interested in getting that information and value. Okay? All right. So ground zero. Now you can do this a couple different ways as far as generating content, because what I don't want you to do is exclusively just post on LinkedIn. Okay, that would be fine, but like, we're not here to do fine. We're here to do awesome. So you can do it a couple different ways. YouTube is what I did. Okay, YouTube is a lot of work, so, you know, be measured. But you can get full video, full audio. I'm going to tell you that, okay? I own my own business now, so that's fine. But my last 2 jobs, I didn't apply for. I literally had the CEOs of the company call me, like hunt me down and call me and ask me, what would it take for me to quit my job and come work for them? And the first time it happened, I'm like, what? Like, do you want to see my resume? And the guy literally said, no, I don't need to see your resume. I've seen you on YouTube. I know exactly what you know, exactly how you perform and handle yourself. And I need you to run my information security program. So like, those kind of things can happen with this. You can do audio only podcasts. I repurpose my content from video to audio just to go to Spotify. If you have more text based, you can do blogs. Blogs are not dead. You can use Substack, etc. If you're into code, you can use GitHub. You can use all 4 of these. You could write code on GitHub and make YouTube videos about your code that you wrote on GitHub and links and how to use it and all that other stuff. So don't think that these are individual paths. They can all cross-pollinate with each other. But the cool thing is, once you are making content in any capacity, you will have a home base, right? That's why I actually say base here. It's your home base. You know, you can have like Maz.com, right? Like his website, or, you know, it's like $20 a year to have a website. And if that's not economically feasible for you, you can do it other ways. But having some place that is yours to control is super powerful. And it will become the hub where you can like post things. People will go to it to see your things. You can put it on your resume. I will tell you definitively, when someone has a YouTube channel on their resume, and I'm looking at this candidate, I will go to their YouTube channel because it's so effective, because I know the person that they're in that video that I'm about to watch didn't know that I was going to watch it. So I'm not getting there. Like, and let's be honest, when you go to a job interview, like, you're on your best behavior, right? Like, who's walking in there and being like, they would be on like Friday. So, but when I watch that video, I understand, are you organized? Did you prepare? Do you communicate well? How do you comport yourself? Do you look like put together, right? All those things are there. And people will go to those links. That's why you should put it on the resume or share it on social media and grow those things. So as far as your reach, obviously cross posts, right? Oh, like, here's this piece of code I wrote, as I just mentioned. It's amazing. It does all these things. If you want, let me know and you can do it. But post it on your website. You can have a link back to your website, so drawing people there so they can see more about you. You can start building, you know, communities and stuff like that. So I guess my key lesson for you on this one is, if you put any time, I don't care if it's like 10 minutes, if you put any time into developing some piece of content that's going to be representative of you and deliver value, like I'm asking you to do, you should absolutely leverage it for as much value as you possibly can. Don't make like 50 wheels. Make 1 wheel and then show it in 50 places. You know what I'm saying? All right. Oh, here's another thing that's like a tough this is reality, but it's tough for me to reconcile. On average, you post 5 times on LinkedIn, only a person like the, green shirt. What's your name? Yeah, it's you. Nick? Nate? Okay. So I post something on LinkedIn. Nate, there's a 20% chance Nate's going to see it, right? So when you are posting a lot on LinkedIn, it feels like you're spamming LinkedIn. The reality is 80% of your content's not being seen by the same human, right? So you're actually not spamming it. I'm not saying you just post the same post 5 times in a row to like hack the numbers, but you can use that one piece of content, that one wheel, and you can post about, today you can post about what's the value of it. Tomorrow you could post about some of the challenges you encountered developing that code. Third, you could post about a community that is related to whatever that code's problem is solving, right? So you can look at it from different perspectives and get different value from it, all while ensuring that you're on brand for the same thing that you're doing. Of course, I would recommend if you want to work in GRC, if you want to work in pen testing or whatever, you should kind of tailor your content that you're creating, posting, and sharing within that space so you become identifiable for that work and that type of stuff. Okay, so just as a really quick evidence-based piece here, this is a video I made. It's one of my really well-performing videos on 12 interview questions that you will absolutely get at a SOC, and the answers that I would give if I was asked those questions, and why the question is asked, and why I gave the answer I gave. And basically, this is just so you can basically hack a SOC analyst interview. You watch this right before you go into the interview, smash a mud hole in it, I swear to God. So I took the transcription of this video and put it in. Here's a transcription of me reading a video on this. I want you to repurpose it into a blog post format. Do not change any of the content, anything in it. Just make it formatted for blogs. And that's what it did, right? So immediately I got this like cool looking blog with like very little additional effort. I made a LinkedIn post. This one performed. You could get 130,000 impressions with this guy. A bunch of, comments and reposts and stuff. And I basically said, this graphic looks horrible, by the way. So don't think you got to be an artist. Like, this is visually rough. Okay, I got it. Okay. So how I would get hands-on cyber experience without a cyber job for free. Okay, this is a huge question I get asked all the time. Broke it down by 5 different roles. Choose your own adventure. Nate wants to be a differ analyst. Got you covered. Josh wants to be a pen tester. No problem. We got you covered. So you can follow the one you want. And this SOC analyst one is right here and mentioned in the blog post. So this is an example of economies of scale with your content. Okay. Also, here's another thing that you really should be aware. AI doesn't really have personality. So if you're using AI draft your content, that's wicked cool. I do that. If you are just kind of reposting it or like, changing it a little bit and reposting it, it's almost like void of personality. And right now, AI slop is like everywhere and it's gross. So I would say embrace your weird. Okay, so like I'm a big GRC dork, right? I get a lot of shade thrown at me because of it, but that's okay. Like I'm cool with it. I'm comfortable with it. And I talk a lot about GRC. And that's me like embracing my weird. I actually feel like I'm pretty well put together right now, but usually I'm like talking really fast and flipping out and like I'm kind of constrained right here. It's actually a good move, Noob Village. Like normally I'm like moving around, but it's authentic. It's who I am, right? It's a human connection. So don't try to like conform yourself to what you think this ideal corporate citizen looks like. Embrace your weird. I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to be like, using like leak speak and like, kind of counterculture statements to like be edgy or something like that. But unless that's who you are, but embrace your weird. Okay. So I've put together a 30-day challenge. This is a link you'll be able to go to. It will literally crawl, walk, run you. So if you're looking for some structure, you're looking for a way to take this talk and operationalize it in a way that's actually meaningful for you, this is what I'm going to want you to do. I've kind of broken it up here. So the first and foremost, we'll get your LinkedIn fixed up and then start doing a little bit of content planning. This is not rocket science. This is going to take like 10 minutes, but like, it's got questions like, what are you into? What do you want to go? What do you want to do? Like figure out that stuff because that's going to drive what you're going to make. Because you don't want to sit down and be like, oh, I got to come up with an engaging post right now. What am I going to do? Like you're already going to know because you're actually going to be tailoring this for where you're going to be going. Obviously, choose the platform if you want, right? YouTube, blog posts, etc. Start posting that content a couple times a week, something you learned, a useful tool. Make sure it is authentic though, okay? Don't just don't copy like a GitHub code repo, ask AI to write a interesting LinkedIn post about it and then post it. That's not going to work out for you, okay? 3 and 4, keeping the momentum. This is basically just a real challenge that you will, I promise you, if you do this, you will see a growth in your LinkedIn presence, and it'll actually condition you to basically take the actions and take the cycles to begin to build these things. I offer a suggestion here just to make it less friction for you guys as far as deciding what you want to do and how you want to do it. I would recommend 5 connections a day. I used to be big into the market of I'm only going to connect on LinkedIn with people I know in real life. Like I'm not touching these like randos, right? But the reality is, and especially post-COVID, like there's people that I met for the first time, like that I've known for a long time that I met in real life for the first time today. You know what I mean? So I already have these relationships. So I connect with everybody on LinkedIn. If you're playing the game, it gives you larger reach because your first tier connections are the ones that are going to see your content, and they're the ones that are going to repost it. I don't just take anyone. Obviously, I'm cybersecurity related people and people within our space, because that's what's interesting and the people that would probably enjoy the content that I'm trying to make. I do produce content without any expectation of reciprocity. Okay. One thing I can tell you right now, and listen, this is just a reality. Okay. If you're looking for a job, okay, and you're trying to connect and network, and like your entire agenda is to get a job from that person that you're trying to have a meaningful connection with, it's going to be obvious. It's going to smell like 3-day-old fish, right? Like it's just, I don't know what it is, because you're not being genuine. Like you have an agenda that you're doing, and it's going to be transparent. So what I would suggest is trying to make these meaningful connections and grow by delivering value. And then those opportunities will present themselves. And one of the things that I tell people all the time, which is unsatisfying to hear, but it's reality, so I'm sorry you have to hear it, is that if you think about making connections and building this presence, what's up, Rick? Good to see you. Building these connections and delivering value into a network and becoming, part of the community and mentoring people or receiving mentorship, it's like planting seeds in a garden. Okay. You plant the seeds, posting is watering the seeds, making sure you're doing the weeding. That's all. It's grunt work. It sucks, right? Like weeding sucks. I don't know if there's someone in here who likes weeding. Like I'd love to connect with you after the talk. Okay. But the thing is, after a while, some of those seeds will sprout. Not all of them, right? I'm certainly a victim of my garden not growing, but some of them will grow. And of the few that grow, some of them will be like these amazing, corn, a stalk of corn, or an amazing flower or something like that. The thing is, I can't tell you which one's going to bloom. I can't tell you that that's too much water or not enough water. So if you're sinking all your eggs into one seed, you're going to put that one seed in, and you're going to water the hell out of that one seed, you still don't know if it's going to blossom, right? So I don't want to say it's a numbers game, but like you give yourself more opportunity, more chances by doing these things. And by the way, by doing this, it's by just delivering value into a network, which when I say network, it's like a community of people, right? Like I'm giving this talk right now because I think it can add value and help people. And I love service, right? So I'm not expecting anyone in this room to like, echo me or talk about me or anything like that. It's not about that, right? So, and if it happens, cool. Like I'll probably bump into some of you at a party later, and it'll be awesome. And then we'll start talking because we have a common interest, right? I saw your talk. Oh, what'd you think about it? Well, kind of stuff, but I like the graphics, right? So, okay, that's fair feedback. Thank you. Let's connect. Okay. So yeah, 100%. And also really quick about cleaning up your LinkedIn. Another thing that is very important to understand, because this just happened to me last night at a dinner. I went to a dinner, and it was with a bunch of people I didn't know. Guy I sat next to happens to be really impressive. And we're going to do work together based on the conversation we had at that dinner. And he's like, oh, let's connect. what's your LinkedIn? And I gave it to him and he pulled it up. And this guy's a CEO of like a really big company. He like pulled it up and he immediately started looking at my LinkedIn. So it's like looking at me after I've gotten dressed and like put on deodorant and like got my hair done and stuff like that. Versus like if it was a Hot Mess Express, he's like looking at me wearing like, sweatpants that say juicy on the butt and like I'm wearing like slides, right? You know what I mean? Like just virtue of that situation and the work I had put in, I didn't know I was going to sit next to that guy. I did not know that the work I'm going to end up doing with him in the spring was going to. But because I was prepared, because I've already done all this work, I've already delivered all this value. The reason it was at dinner is literally because I made a YouTube video for a different company and it was their dinner. They're like, hey, dude, love that video. Like we got a lot of people who came and checked out our product. Thank you so much. Would you like to come to this dinner? I'm like, sure. That sounds great. Like, thanks. I didn't make the video expecting a free dinner in Vegas. Trust me. Like, I didn't need that. But it led to another thing. Okay, so this is how it looks like when you actually manifest it and take action. Your own experiences will look different, but I'm telling you, you have to take the steps. You have to put the initiative. One other thing I do want to point out really quick is that it is a long game. Okay, it's a marathon. I know a lot of people, how am I doing on time? I'm doing great on time. A lot of people will get all geeked up, okay? And I mean that in the nicest way possible. Okay. A lot of people get all geeked up. I actually give a seminar 3 times a year on how to like basically create the YouTube channel that I created. And they're like, oh, look, I love it. I'm going to make video a day. I'm going all in. Right. And it's like, I know you're super pumped, but like, if you do that, you're going to crash and burn in like 4 days. You're going to hate life. You're going to hate YouTube. You're going to hate all the things. So make sure that you're excited and passionate, but make sure that you're setting realistic expectations for yourself. Consistency is king. If you're producing these things on the regular, people are going to see you on the regular. They're going to begin to identify and associate you with that content, with that topic, that area. And then just like Dennis Keith, right? Or is Dennis? Oh wait, hold on. Those are a bunch of slides. Just like Dennis Keith, he's an OSINT guy. So like right now, if anyone came up to me at DEF CON and said, hey, like we got an OSINT job. You know anyone? Or we've got a project that requires someone with OSINT. Dennis Keith is the person I would recommend immediately. And it's not because Dennis asked me to do that. Dennis didn't invest in OSINT, so I would find an opportunity for him. It's just the nature of it all. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. This is what the graphic looks like. If you go to simplycyber.io/noob, it will redirect you directly to this document. Inside the document, there's actually a hyperlink to this deck itself. So it's completely self-contained. I want to make you aware that this is a custom font. Okay. So when you pull it up yourself, it's going to look like hot trash. So please don't message me and tell me it looks awful because just the fonts aren't imported into Google Slides. Okay. So you'll get the content, which is the most important part, but not the look and feel. All right. And then you can use this 30-day action plan. And I challenge you to, I mean, this is like an engagement hack all into itself. Like keep the momentum, tag me. Yeah, it's going to do your talk. Here's day 1. Here's week 1, right? Make it a thing. Let's do it, right? Because if you have accountability, that's another thing. Accountability is huge at making you stay consistent. Because if you know other people are expecting it, you're more likely to do it than you are to make an excuse that like, it's late, I'm tired, I'm sick, I'm hungry, I don't want to do it. Like whatever it is, you'll make excuses. If there's accountability involved, you're more likely to just take the action and do it. Okay, so one thing that I didn't put in the slides that's super important is the value of networking specifically. All these things about LinkedIn and producing content and the hacks that perform well on the platform are fine, but it's just one piece of it. This will unlock the opportunity to make relationships and begin to leverage them in certain ways, okay? And I don't mean like, Marcus Kyler, who's in the front row right here, is my friend. I'm not friends with Marcus, so I can leverage. What I am saying is like, Marcus lives in, okay. You have a Detroit Lions hat, so I mean, it's like, so Marcus lives in Michigan. So like, if I find out, like we've done work together, you know what he's into, he knows what I'm into. Like we've shared experiences, frankly, over the last couple of years. And I met him for the first time at a party that I threw a couple of years ago. And, you know, from there, it's gone on. Because of that, like if something came up in Michigan, I absolutely would want to tell Marcus about it. Okay, so by making these meaningful relationships, you don't have to pretend to be friends with someone. Like I don't like everybody. I like a lot of people, but I don't like everybody. But you know, embrace your weird and find your tribe and be into the things that you're into. And don't, I would just say, don't be okay, here's a quick, I love analogies and metaphors. Okay, this one just came to me. Okay, if you have a neighbor, right, or someone like you're in college with the guy down the dorm hallway or whatever, if you have someone that the only time you see them or hear from them is when they need something, that sucks, right? Your phone rings. My phone rings and, you know, he's not here. It's fine. He's a neighbor. His name's Malcolm, okay? Like, I like Malcolm, actually. But, like, whenever I see Malcolm calling, I know immediately that he wants to borrow something. Like, without question. Because he never calls me to get a beer. He never calls me to come over and watch the game. He calls me because he needs my wheel, you know? So, when I think, again, I like Malcolm, but when something comes up that's an opportunity, Malcolm's not the first person that comes to my mind. And it's just because, you know, it's a different relationship. It's a take only relationship. So it's very important to, you can take and you can ask, but investing, think of it as investing. You're investing in the relationship. You're investing in the network and the community. And if you ever need to take a withdrawal from that investment, it will be there because you built up capital, frankly, or social capital. And people know, oh yeah, you're always giving. What can I do to help? Okay. Again, I'm not talking about investing fraudulently so you can simply cash in on a big payday for a job. I'm talking about like almost a mind shift about how you're viewing professional networking as opposed to some of these things that you hear online about, like, woo. So right, I want to say, if you want any more information on me, Simply Cyber is my business, and simplycyber.io/socials should take you directly to a link that has all sorts of things that I'm related to. You can absolutely connect with me. If anything I talked about today, you want some more clarity on, please, approach me, or I have a Discord server that's quite popular, and you can ask in there. This is my stickers for 2025. Okay, so if you want one of these, you can get one. That QR code is not malicious. I'm huge into, talk about embracing weird, okay? I'm really big into like golden age hip hop, like late 80s, early 90s, okay? This is a custom playlist I made for DEF CON this year, and it's for you. So again, it's just it's a little piece of value that I want to give. It's completely authentic to me because I curated this playlist for this reason. And I love retro synthwave music and vibes, which is why the color code is there. So just by looking at this, you know a bit about me. You know if we vibe. You know how you could, have a conversation with me. And remember, you're not trying to do it with everyone. You just try to find your people, your tribe. I'll open it up for questions. I'm really passionate about helping people and demystifying a bunch of stuff. This talk is super specific about doing LinkedIn correctly to build relationships, but I can help many people in many ways. So let me thank you for your time and your focus. This is a great audience. And then open it up for chat questions. Any questions from anyone? Don't be shy if you do have a question. Yes, sir. Oh, Michelle. Yes, I'm sure.
Who do you reject on?
Who do I reject on LinkedIn? I do reject some people because I own a business now. I get a lot of people who are just straight selling. They're like, I can 10x your revenue tomorrow. And I'm like, no, like, because there's no value to that relationship at all. If there is, I err on the side of caution when there's like an absolute beautiful, woman wearing like risque clothes, where it's like clearly an AI generated spam account. Like, I will still accept the connection because it could be a real person. I'm very big on inclusion, and I don't want to be like, oh, like I can't include you because you're dressed provocatively, but chances are it's a bot. Yeah, good question. Any other questions from the chat or from the audience? Yeah, I know. All right. Yes, sir, Maz. Yeah, good question. So the question was, if you've kind of a similar role for 10, 15, 20 years, and you basically pigeonholed yourself. How do you break free from that? And I'm going to tell you, I worked at a large academic medical center, and I can tell you definitively, I saw people get passed over for promotion that they absolutely deserved because someone in the room said, well, if we promote them, who's going to do their job? There's no one to do they would like the senior AD admin, right? The senior super domain admin. Been there forever. So who's going to do their job? Let's hire this other person. And I wasn't in a place where I could influence. So it's a real problem. It's a real question. What I would say is twofold. So number one, it depends on your situation, right? Say you are working in IT, you're a senior IT person, right? And you're this person, right? You know where the bodies are buried in AD and stuff like that. And you want to move into cybersecurity. Strategically start moving into projects that are tied directly to wherever it is you want to go, right? So you could be like, hey, I'm a domain admin. So I see where we're going to finally migrate off of, 2008 R2, finally, like, let me be the lead on that. That's huge. Or, hey, we're going to move up into, this is kind of dated, but like, we're going to move from on-prem into a hybrid in cloud. Let me be the leader for that side of the project. Now, I want to tell you, this isn't best practice. I still have 8 minutes. Okay. I take every second of it. So, this is a tough one, and this is something that everybody needs to be real with, because this is something I feel like people don't talk about. It's going to be more work. It's going to be stressful because you're still going to have to do your job, and now you're taking on extra work. Remember, the extra work that you're doing or signing up for ends to a mean, because you're establishing. First of all, you're going to be establishing the experience that you actually want to get. So your resume is going to start looking more dope, right? Because I've done a M365 migration. I've done an Azure migration. I decommissioned Exchange on-prem and migrated up, right? So that is desirable practical skills. Practical skills are wicked valuable in the market right now. On top of that, as if you do the things that I'm talking about, you can't be like, I migrated this into a hybrid environment. Here's like our screenshots of our domain. You can't obviously disclose that stuff. But you can talk about the challenges that you encountered or best practices that you saw or a tool or a solution. So other people were like, I've been on 2008 R2 for years. I've been kind of kicking it down the road. Like, this is good. I might ask him a question. So you can start building those relationships. Eventually, the only way that you're going to solve this problem is there's only 2 ways you're going to solve it, and they're both not great. Okay, number one, you have to leave and go to a different company, which is why I've just told you to build all that skill set. Or number 2, and it's less likely, there is CISO quits or director of GRC quits, and you've established yourself as the obvious incumbent. To decouple yourself, is that who's going to do that? Basically, if you can start grooming a successor for your role, so then it becomes, the question isn't who's going to do Maz's job if he leaves? You could say, well, Bill's been helping Maz do AD migrations for 6 months. And he charges, his salary is way lower. This would be great. Let's get him out of the IT cost center and move it over to the cyber cost center, right? So then business is happy, you're happy, and everybody wins. Now, again, that the chances of that job opening up are, statistically odd because, it depends. But moving companies is, the easier way. And then you can also get a bit bigger pay bump, typically if you move laterally and up. So does that help? Ish? Or is that just... Okay, well, let's pause for a second. Ben, yes.
Was observing work.
Yeah.
Well, what I was doing and on the you were it's hard here. You were step high or but I suppose that my my question. How do you read parallel or might we want to be anonymous? Oh, yeah.
No, it's not a cop out. It's not a cop out. It can be done. I think you're not going to have as much. There is a trade off, right? You're not going to have as much growth opportunity. It's marginal, right? But by being more anonymous, right? Because people are going to want to start trying to find you and find more about you. And if you've made it difficult to find you, obviously it's a lot of friction for someone to learn about you. With AI, I mean, you could have a fake, like a sock puppet account essentially that you're using to establish you and all your stuff goes under it. You could do that. It just becomes maintenance for you, right? So now you got to make sure that like whenever you're posting, you can't post photos of you or you have to stick like an emoji over your face. Some people do that. Yeah. So it can be done. It definitely can be done. But I mean, eventually you're going to be in the life of people, right? Yeah, Tiberius does. I mean, no, Jack Resider, like, but I mean, honestly, I mean, look, with all I appreciate it, but like, I would say that those are very, choice options to pick. I would say they're more of the anomaly than reality, but
Well, but probably
yep. I think it's worth it. I mean, it depends what your ultimate goals are, but like, again, this isn't like a flex, but like me and other people I know who have done similar things, okay? Like I'm not worried about a job. Like I run my own company now, so that's different. But like I can tell you, I know I have a friend, okay? He got laid off 3 months ago and he had a job in less than a week because of the things that we're talking about, okay? So it's an investment in yourself. Like if you wanted to spend time and energy to help someone, yourself is like the number one person, right? Like you're investing in yourself. So thank you for the question. I think it would be worth it. Yeah. Yeah. Nails. Yeah. Anyone question? We have a follow-up from us. I wanted to open it for the panel or panel, like I'm a panel of one. Yes, sir. 2 questions. Oh, 2 minutes. I thought you had 2 questions. I was like, yes, sir, or double shot. All right. Well, Maz, follow up. Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
only the
Yeah.
wall I moved on. Not or
Yeah.
father also he oh, my first
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, for anyone, here's what I did. I mean, personally, and it worked out pretty well. And it's what I would encourage others to do. Don't think that you need to like quit your job and go scorched earth and like go find the SOC analyst job tomorrow, right? Start doing this and investing in yourself. Start building the runway for yourself while you're in your current job. Unless you're in some job that's like absolutely toxic or it's like, your marriage is going to end or something because of like stress that's related to that. But like, if it's just a normal job, like your situation, figure out like what you want to do and start like working towards it, right? So say you're going to be a SOC analyst, okay? Which still get calls on the weekend. So you might want to think twice about that. GRC is looking pretty good. All right. Okay. So let's say you want to be a GRC person instead, because that's probably more cool. So like start studying, start learning, like whatever it is, like NIST cybersecurity framework, MITRE attack framework, whatever, right? Audits, awareness training, whatever. And begin either sharing or producing content or collaborating with people who are also working in that space. And you're going to begin to establish yourself as Maz, the GRC guy, and you'll be able to get some experience. And you'll intuitively actually start seeing GRC related opportunities at work because you're actually informed and educated on what those topics and disciplines are. So you'll begin to see them and opportunities will present themselves at work. So, and by the time you're ready to cut the cord and move or whatever, you'll already have all this established, professional footprint of being a GRC, professional or knowledgeable at that point. So that's what I would do. Definitely don't just quit your job straight out. Like, if you can, right? I mean, if you're working 80 hours a week, it's tough to find more time, but yeah. So thank you, everybody. I'm available for a little bit, and then I'm going to go. We're having a little meetup for the community later. I got to get prepped for. Thank you.